Serving.
Believe it. Okay.
What's going on, Geeks? You listen to episode 394 of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. My name is Cody Armour. I'm here with Lj.Lowery.
Yo.
Shelley is under the weather this week, so we're missing her. Feel better,
Yeah.
Shelley. Probably going to be a bit of a shorter episode, but anytime I say that, it's like a 2-hour long episode. So we'll see. I think it'll be a shorter episode today. The news was a little bit light.
Yeah.
But it'll be a good show nonetheless. Just a reminder for everybody, we have 6 more episodes, and then we are taking a bit of a break. A pretty long break, probably a few months. So kind of be aware of that. Everyone's going through different seasons of life and stuff. So we don't exactly know what's going to happen yet, but just be ready for that. You're like, where'd the podcast go? Episode 400. Be here, because it's going to be a special episode for us. Again, still nothing planned, and it's coming up fast, but it'll just be it'll be really important to us at the very least.
Yeah.
I'd say that. This week we're geeking out about Darksiders, Star Wars, and HBO, because the only thing that I really saw in TV was a single ad from HBO that was almost better than most of the things that we saw from cinema.
Yeah. Yeah, we're in a weird season. We're in that transition between where summer is coming to a close and then fall.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're going to get into fall pretty soon, so there's not a lot going on news-wise.
Yeah. And everyone's so busy, including myself. I haven't played any video games. I watched a little bit of TV, but it's mostly I've been working a lot lately, and so... LJ, what have you been playing?
Yeah, so I do want to mention Marvel Rivals again. The beta ended this weekend. It lasted 2 weeks. And I am hooked on that game, and I'm going to play the heck out of it like I did Overwatch. So I talked about last time that Venom, so there's a permanent unlock when you hit level 30 for a Venom skin that was basically a callback to the Marvel vs. Capcom games, and I'm like, I need that, and so I got it. So I'm just like, yes, I did the thing I wanted to do throughout the beta. Super fun game. Again, I still highly recommend it, especially for lapsed Overwatch players. It's cool, and I would honestly recommend, it's going to be free to play when it comes out, so maybe if you've never played a game like that, pick a hero you like, and then experiment with them, and then, play who you're good with, or who you feel more comfortable as, and then it kind of makes you want to experiment with other heroes later, because I did the same thing with Overwatch, and I learned most of that roster at some point. So, I just want to say I highly recommend it. They haven't said when they're going to actually release it yet. So that's what I'm waiting for. They just need to not release it surprise when I'm on vacation. So that would be nutty if it released in the next week or two. But no, it's fun. I don't really have a lot more to say about it. Yeah, it's good. The other thing that I've been playing that Fortnite's one of those games I'm always playing off and on. So I don't really talk about it. But this week I got to play with my nephew, who's 7 years old. Yeah, so it was real sweet because he's been getting into it a little bit, and so I guess this is a bit odd. He's 7 years old. He got the Deadpool skin, and so I have one of the Wolverine skins, and so I sent my sister this picture. I said, "Hey, look, I'm the Wolverine to his Deadpool," and she goes, "Oh, are you playing right now? This is Saturday morning." And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Okay, I'm gonna let him play with you." And so I was like, "All right, does he have a headset, that he can use or something with a mic?" And so he does, yeah. And so I helped her get that set up, and we played a few matches Saturday morning, and we got second and fourth. And so he's playing on his Switch, I was playing on my Xbox. But so we were running around as Wolverine and Deadpool, and it was super fun.
You get second place. That's pretty cool.
He's gotten a couple wins on his own, which is probably more than I can say for this season. The car stuff they did this season is wild. I don't think I've gotten a solo win this season. It's crazy.
Interesting that a 7-year-old can
yeah, and I don't know if
a bunch of adults.
Yeah, and so it's I don't know if there's I know there at some point there you start off with bots, and then at some point you get further on, and you play against mostly real people. They do have like the mythic weapons and like stronger stuff that it's like does a lot of damage. So I know his thing he likes to use is they added the Magneto gloves this season. So basically,
okay.
you can use it as a shield, or you can fling large balls of metal that does straight up damage. I mean, they're great. It's a great weapon to fight against the cars, because the cars are insane. Which apparently I think they're gonna be downplaying those now in the next season, which is coming up. And then also rumors are, I'm trying not to get him too excited about this, because I don't know. But a lot of rumors and leaks saying it's going to be another Marvel season, which is huge, because the last Marvel season got a lot of people back into Fortnite. So I hope it is, just because like that would be super dope. But yeah, no, it was a real good time. And then I ended up having other things to do later that day. Did laundry and chores and stuff. But so it was cool. It was great.
Yeah, and I don't know if he saw the Deadpool movie or not, but I was thinking, you're like, that's crazy that he's got Deadpool. He was in Spider-Man. He was in Spider-Man animated.
Yeah, I mean, I think
show.
So. I know I watched a lot of bad movies I shouldn't have when I was a kid, but he's definitely seen the other Deadpool movies.
Okay,
and so
there's a PG-13 one.
Yeah. So, but what's exciting for him is he knows before Magneto showed up in Fortnite, before he knew who Deadpool was, he knew I was into the X-Men. So when he sees oh, that's the guy from Fortnite, oh, that guy, and then he sees Wolverine and and going to be in a Deadpool movie. So he's like, oh, that's LJ's guy, that's LJ, so apparently my sister did get him into watching an actual X-Men cartoon, like one of the cartoons on Disney Plus. So it's just kind of neat that he knows the things I'm into, and then so he decides to check them out for himself. But it was a good time. It was really fun, and I guess apparently he told his mom that it was the best day of his life, and I'm like, kid, you're only 7. Come on now. But I'm just it was real sweet. But no,
awesome.
he definitely absorbs, he finds out the things I'm into and he absorbs it. Apparently my sister's oh, he's been watching this one boxing anime on Netflix, and I'm like, oh yeah, I showed him that. So it's just funny. I'm such a big influence on his life, and so for him to play some Fortnite with me was the coolest thing for him. So it was awesome.
Yeah,
we're definitely gonna try and play some more. He asked if I could play before the podcast tonight. I'm like, I don't know, dude. I was like, probably not. A match of Fortnite takes 30 to 40 minutes, depending on how long you go anyway. So yeah, I might try to catch another round or two with him before I leave on vacation. But no, it was cool. There's definitely going to be more of that. What I really want him to do now that he's playing games, I always had this dream that I would teach him how to play Rocket League, and we can run the tables on people in Rocket League. So I'm I want to get him on Rocket League at some point. But yeah, that's definitely the highlight of my gaming this weekend.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I know there wasn't a lot, but what's going on in the gaming world?
Yeah. So the first piece of news, which is pretty awesome, I think. I saw at first that this was getting added to the Japan Nintendo Switch Online, and then later found out it's supposed to release on the 9th of August. But we're getting Pokemon Red Rescue Team for the Game Boy Advance Nintendo Switch Online. Cool. So Pokemon, it's Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team, which is a dungeon crawler. So this isn't your typical turn-based RPG Pokemon for those who don't know. It's a dungeon crawler in I guess almost like a Zelda sense. There's I think Mystery Dungeon is almost like a subgenre in Japan, because it's almost kind of roguelike. In the Pokemon one, I've played Mystery Dungeon DX, but it's all about recruiting and changing out your Pokemon. And so you're literally just a group of Pokemon. There's no trainer or anything. And so you switch out which Pokemon you have in a line, and you can use their little abilities or them to to basically, I believe, kind of defeat other Pokemon. It's almost just straight up attacking them. But it's
it's weird because I have the games but I've never played them.
That's funny. But no, Mystery Dungeon DX on the Switch is really good. I liked it for what I played of it. And so I remember Shelley talking about this game initially, probably here on the podcast. And so like, oh, that's awesome. Like I want to check that out. Just to see where it all came from. There is a Final Fantasy mystery dungeon game. I think it's called like Chocobo Mystery Dungeon Everybody, and then it's like, but it's every Buddy. It's like, it looks cute. I've had that game installed on my PlayStation from like PS Plus Extra like for a couple years now, and I still haven't played that. So it's some kind of like dungeon crawler like subgenre that they have in Japan, I think. But no, I think it looks cool. That looks cool, and I think this is a fun way to like, if they're gonna start giving us a drip feed of Pokemon games, like this is the way to do it. But yeah, this is exciting. I hope they do eventually release the other Pokemon GBA games on there, which they got to at some point. So hopefully this means good things for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And the other big piece of news, it's kind of like it's it's kind of a terrible tease. So THQ Nordic THQ Nordic had a showcase this weekend, or I guess this past week anyway. And they teased at the end of it more Darksiders stuff. So they haven't. We're assuming that this is going to be a sequel or another game, and then it shows basically the 3 council members of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse in the game. This is all fictional. It's basically a fictional take on the Horsemen, basically the 4 Horsemen. And so it's this group called the Charred Council, and it just shows their face, it shows them, and basically says like prepare to ride.
Graphically, it looks like a PS3 game.
Yes,
in the rendering.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that maybe they took this from the original Darksiders. Yeah, from the actual game, maybe 1 or 2. But yeah, they said prepare to ride again. So that's got everybody assuming that we're gonna get a sequel.
I forgot that they're different riders in the games, aren't they?
Yes. So
yeah,
you have War, Death, Strife, and then Fury is what they call her in the game. Yeah. So Wars is very much and so I guess I'll get into this a little bit. These are pretty good games, and the very light biblical references are kind of cool in my opinion. Again, very light. Is basically if you turn, it's basically like comic book form. So you have War, and his gameplay is very heavy, like a Zelda / God of War game. Then you have,
which sounds great.
Yeah. Then you have Death, which his is very much like Zelda crossed with like Diablo. There's a lot of loot in that game. There's a lot of loot pickups. Then you have Fury's game, Darksiders 3, and hers is kind of like a Souls light. So for those who are kind of somewhat into Elden Ring now or in Bloodborne, who have gotten into those Souls games in the past couple years, could go check that out. And then the last one's kind of weird because you have Strife, and his is it's a co-op top-down shooter that War is in, and it's called Darksiders Genesis, and that one is like a twin-stick shooter. Isometric like twin stick shooter, and it's pretty fun. Me and my brother played it together. But they're all dirt cheap. Like if you literally want to go back and play these games, you can probably catch them on sale. Like I think THQ Nordic literally has a Steam sale right now. They probably have a sale on all the platforms right now, I imagine. But you could get most of these games for like under $20, like in a bundle. I saw. But these are fun games. Like I really think they're solid. Like they're nothing. I don't think they've ever made anybody like any major game of the year lists, but a lot of people like really enjoy these games. So I do recommend them. They are rated M. There's a lot of there's definitely a lot of loose biblical references. They play fast and loose with the idea of the apocalypse, So but I still think it's a good fantasy, like a good kind of dark fantasy story. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna stop. I can stop ranting.
No
now,
problem.
But
Yeah.
I do recommend.
That's another game that I've been told, at least the first one, that I really need to play because I love old school Zelda games. I just never got into them.
Yeah, they're solid though. So I've been.
There is one more piece of news that we did not put in the notes. I forgot I wanted to mention to you.
Okay.
Kind of a crazy one. Game Informer So not necessarily video
Ooh,
games, but video game
I
journalism.
forgot. I totally did forget about that.
I just thought about it. I was talking to some friend yesterday, Game Informer.
Good call.
A website that's been around for 33 years.
Yeah.
Or a journalist company that's been around for 33 years. Is shut down.
Gosh,
Not shutting down, already done.
Yeah.
Not a lot is said on it. You can go to their website, and it says, after 33 thrilling years of bringing you the latest news, reviews, and insights from the ever-evolving world of gaming, it is with a heavy heart that we announce the closure of Game Informer. From the early days of pixelated adventures to today's immersive virtual realms, we've been honored to share this incredible journey with you, our loyal readers. While our presses may stop, the passion for gaming that we've cultivated together will continue to live on. Thank you for being part of our epic quest, and may your own gaming ventures never end.
Yeah, that one hits.
Yeah.
I read a article. I knew there was some kind of layoff or something. I was like, "There's gotta," because I know Bungie.
Yeah, I just thought about it. We gotta throw that in there.
That's a good call. I'm glad you did that because, I mean, who hasn't read a Game Informer through GameStop?
Right.
You know, if you're a GameStop member, you've had those come into your mailbox, and the days of magazines are literally just about done. I think there's only 2 publications left, like gaming publications that still do magazines. I did read a Kotaku article, which kind of set the stage a little more for what happened that day, because it was Friday morning. They got called into a meeting with some GameStop people, HR, and some other role. And basically they were like, yeah, effective immediately, we're shutting down Game Informer. So I saw that apparently someone said they had 70% of next month's issue ready to go. And also somebody was on a work trip for Game Informer. An event where they went to go check out a game. So I think it might have been for Dragon Age or Star Wars or something. There was something that people were checking out this past week that they came and reported back on. So I can't imagine that feels great. Yeah. To be in that situation. So it sucks. I think a few years ago they did have some high profile layoffs, and they were still putting out podcast episodes and video reviews the day before. So it's just kind of wild to be man, okay.
It sounds like they probably didn't get a lot of heads up. That seems to happen a lot in any industry anymore. It's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah. I really think that, hopefully we live, I'm sure that a lot of those people could find other work. Especially those people that are doing the video content and the podcast and stuff. But I kind of pray that it's the other folks that are actually having to put together these magazines, and a lot of those people on those teams that hopefully they'll find work. I know when these things happen, people get on Twitter and be like, hey, come talk to us if you're one of these people that lost their job, so yeah, that's mostly what I hope for, is I hope people are finding work, because it's kind of wild to, you got these days, it's you can barely get by as it is. So I just hope those other people have found jobs. So yeah, for sure. No, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah. We can move on to movies.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a movie.
Nice.
It was The Boy and the Heron.
How was it?
I kept saying The Boy and His Heron, or The Boy and His Pelican, and neither of those are right. It was really good.
Nice.
I didn't catch on to kind of the symbolism of it all, and I felt kind of dumb that I didn't realize that while watching it. It's about the stages of grief. My wife pointed it out after, and as I kind of processed, I was like, oh, it was. For me, I was so captured in, Miyazaki. It's a Miyazaki film, by the way. His imagery and his art style. And then the voice acting was so crazy. There is Robert Pattinson's in it, and so is William Dafoe. And I knew that. And I had a friend who was like, I can't believe that's Robert Pattinson. And I was like, no, that's definitely William Dafoe. I don't know what you're talking about. Turns out it is Robert Pattinson plays the Heron in this movie. And it's his best impression of William Dafoe. And I know they've been friends and they've been doing movies together anyways. And so maybe that was part of that. But so weird, to hear Robert Pattinson just play, he just does such crazy voice work for an anime too. You don't really think about
he's easily one of the most underrated actors in Hollywood.
Yeah, the range. We kept watching it, and he plays kind of a goofy character in a lot of ways. I don't want to goofy's not really the right word, but an eclectic character.
Yeah.
And I just kept thinking, I was like, I can't believe this is Batman. But no, the movie itself is really, really pretty. So I brought up the grief thing. Something else I realized reading afterwards is a lot of the characteristics of the main character and Miyazaki are similar, not in like physical characteristics, but just things that happened in their life. And so
I love that.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very much a Miyazaki film. He very much goes into this fantasy world.
Nice. I love when
It's
artists
always just
do
so much
that. Like,
Yeah.
I read this comic book recently, an indie comic called Middle West, and a lot of it had to do with things like dealing with like what I assume would be like the author or artist's like personal like issues with like their parents and stuff, and like generational curses and stuff. And I'm like that's cool, when people put their personal connections and stories into art, hoping that maybe somebody watching or reading or whatever art form it is can take from it and maybe find some peace in it or something. That's cool.
My wife said something, I don't know, we don't have an answer for it obviously, but she said, I wonder if like when stuff happened to him that he needed to go through the stages of grief, did he go into his own, like figuratively obviously, go into his own little world, into a different world, to process things. Just his amazing imagination. I'd be curious if that's kind of what he did, is he just kind of disassociated into another his own little universe that he built. But that's really cool. Really powerful story. I want to see some more Miyazaki films. I haven't seen a lot of them. I think the newest one that I've seen is Mononoke, besides The Boy and the Heron now.
Mononoke is pretty old.
Old I think it's 98.
Wow. I'd have to look, because I never know when these movies actually came out.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at a lot of them. A lot of them came out in the 80s.
Yeah.
So I would like to look. There's a lot of movies. I've seen most of them pre Mononoke. But he's got some newer stuff. And there's one that's supposed to be like almost like a nonfiction. It's supposed to be more of kind of like it's a true story at the very least.
I gotta look when Howl's Moving Castle came out, because now I gotta know when that came out.
I bet the 80s, or at least early 90s. And so I can't remember the name of that movie, but I want to see that one really bad.
2004 is Howl's Moving Castle.
2004?
Yeah.
Does not feel that new. That's crazy.
Well, because I was like, there's no way it could be that old. I figured if anything, or like early 2000s, late 90s.
Maybe I'm thinking Castle in the Sky.
Yes, Spirited Away is pretty old too. I think.
Castle in the Sky was 1986 is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Of. Yeah, I really liked Castle in the Sky. Yeah, great. I'm okay if he keeps making one last.
Spirited Away was 2001.
Okay.
That makes sense now that I looked those up.
2001 for Spirited Away. Man,
yeah.
I thought that was an old movie when I watched it.
I thought it was a bit older too. I thought that was like 90s.
Yeah.
Wait,
was Mononoke? No. We need to look at that one now. Right on 98?
That one feels...
So, I don't know if I've seen Howl's Moving Castle.
That one's
97
so
for Mononoke.
Mononoke? Okay,
hey, that's pretty good for my guess.
That is pretty good. That's really good. Howl's Moving Castle.
But that would mean that Spirited Away would be the newer one that I've seen, because I've seen Spirited Away. I don't think I've seen Howl's Moving Castle.
Oh, okay. They're all on Max. I think most of them are.
Okay.
Porco Rosso is a real good one too. They're all good. What am I saying?
The name of the one that he did recently. It was like 2013. I can find it out by doing that, I guess. 2013. Just Googling with us, listeners. They're probably like hitting their head against the desk. Like, I know the name of it. I'm not.
Ponyo was 2008.
The Wind Rises.
Oh yeah.
It's supposed to be really good. But no, that's I love Miyazaki films.
I love how we just went down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, I gotta look up all the names. Sorry for those who already
Wind Rises
all
is 2013.
This is your trivia time. Great. If you haven't seen a Miyazaki film, watch Totoro.
I would
And then
almost recommend a
watch
lot of
anything else
these
you
to
see.
like casual or people who haven't seen anime before. There's a lot of these I would probably recommend
Pause it here,
first.
LJ, because you froze.
Okay. You good? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? I'm good. You good?
Actually, while we're waiting,
You good?
use the restroom.
Let me see. Hello, hello. Yo, yo, yo. Check, 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 check. Oh no. Ah. What happened? Hold on. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. I think my internet's not taking a dump. Hello?
Hello.
That was weird.
I
didn't-
would have paused because you froze.
I didn't stop.
Froze.
Yeah, and then Discord, like, I could see and hear you still moving, like, I had no issues. And then all of a sudden, Discord's like, oh, hey, we're having a problem.
Yeah.
We're good. We're good now, though.
Weird. Okay. Did you hear me say I'm gonna use the bathroom quick while we were waiting?
Yeah.
That's
No,
funny.
you were fine, so I was tripping out. I was
That's
like, what
crazy.
is- Yeah, no, Discord just pooed on me.
It just say that it was on your side. I was like, it could be like my
It was
Wi-Fi.
definitely, on my side because all of a sudden everything disappeared and Discord started doing this like spinny thing where it's like, I was like, oh yeah, okay, all right, well, I didn't stop recording.
I think. I didn't either.
Okay.
I think. I ended that conversation where I needed to, so we can go to the news.
Yeah.
But we'll move on to the movie news. Again, not a lot going on, but this is pretty big if you like Donald Glover and his rendition of Lando, because that has been in limbo. That's a fun play on words there. Lando, limbo. They're similar.
The Lando movie Landoed in Limbo.
Yeah, Lando was in limbo.
Tongue
But-
twisters.
Yeah. It was going to be a TV show for those who don't know, and it was going to be written by, I can't remember his first name, but Simeon is his last name. And that is no longer happening, unfortunately. But what is happening is that Justin Simeon, instead, we are going to get a movie about Lando. It's probably
That's interesting.
Lando, a Star Wars story, which is, yeah, definitely an interesting choice, written by Donald Glover, which that I'm like really on board with.
That's a bold move, Cotton, but I think I think it being written by Donald Glover, I think, is good. Like, I love how, like, I guess even with Deadpool, it's cool to see people that are passionate about something, like, getting the reins to, like, do something.
Yeah, and it's
So-
outside the box. It's
Yeah.
like Donald Glover isn't someone I would think to write a Star Wars movie stereotypically,
Yeah,
and that excites me. I'm like, oh, we're gonna be doing something different then.
yeah.
And I think, I don't know, just given the stuff that I've seen Donald Glover do, I think that'll be perfect for him as a Star Wars character. So excited for that. And that's literally all I put in the movie news. I'm sure there's other stuff, but we'll run on to TV. There's a lot of TV that I watched. Did you watch a lot of TV?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
What'd you watch? Let's go with you first.
I watched The Punisher. I didn't watch that many episodes of it, but what I've watched is really good. I'm like, man,
so well done.
Yeah. So like, it's interesting because like the way the show starts, like, and I said this last time. The show starts like his story is finished, basically. And so I was like, "Ooh, that's interesting," you know. And it makes sense, like, you know, especially if you watched Daredevil, you're like, okay, yeah, he was still on that quest during Daredevil, but this is at a point in his life where it's like, oh, he's like, I've done what I needed to do as like the Punisher, so he kind of stops. But then, you know, his past kind of catches up with him, and just he kind of snaps into this thing he really does not want to like get back into, and I really loved that. Like, the end of that first episode was like, it was tragic to me because it's like, oh no, like here he goes again, you know, kind of a thing. Like, it's almost like hearing about somebody relapsing. Like, and I was just like,
see that.
Oh, like, I was just like, okay, like, you know, and then obviously there's more to it, but I'm just like, dang. So I'm excited to watch more. I've only still watched a few episodes. Like you said, it is a slow burn, but like I feel like in a good way. There are some slow points that, like, you know, you definitely want, like, at first I'm like, oh, okay, but it's like, it's a very, like, those moments are extremely rewarding, I think.
It's way more artistically done than it ever needed to be for a Punisher.
Yes.
Like, they could have just made it blood and gore and him just wrecking shop, and it's this story about PTSD and the effects that's going to have on a person, and the consequences of violence. Yeah,
it's fantastic. Like, I'm excited to watch more.
So good. I watched a few different things. Oh, me and you both watched, you said, an episode of Batman Cape Crusader.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. I almost don't want to say this because I found out through the show, but I love it. It takes place in the 1940s.
Yeah.
And you're not told that. It isn't just like 1940 Gotham. It's like, you're just looking around the scenery and you go, wait, why are they wearing these hats? And then you see the cars and you're like, oh. So you see Batman and you're like, why does Batman look so like old school?
I'm trying to remember if the original animated series, I don't think it was, but it definitely gave those vibes, you know, those noir vibes. So I don't necessarily think, like, I would have to go back and watch, but this is straight up. Oh, go ahead.
It was modern. Batman was like, he had the computer and stuff. It just had like
that's
kind
true.
of a noir like ness to it, whereas this literally seems to take place in 1940s.
Yeah. It's definitely based on the original, you know, Detective Comics Batman, you know, with the longer ears and stuff like that. Bruce Timm, the creator of the animated series, is in charge of this with, I think J.J. Abrams is like producing, right?
And Matt Reeves.
Yes.
Who did Robert Pattinson's Batman. That name surprised me.
Yeah. I dig it. It's got me thinking, because like I've been so they recently did a new line of Dick Tracy comics, and I've also been playing. I played for a little bit, like not enough. I mean, I haven't talked about it, but this detective noir series, like, you know, on Xbox called like Black Sad, whatever. And so it's just like I'm in this noir like kind of mode right now. So this is just adding to it. But Batman's awesome. They bend some things that like parts of the story and characters that I'm okay with so far.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a different universe, which is cool.
Yeah.
You've got, I think maybe, like you said, it's the original comics idea. That makes it feel like you're in almost like a Spider-Man noir, but it's Batman. Like, you feel like you're in another world. And then, again, with like the bending of characters and stuff, you have this, it feels like a different world. Even the way he says, he's like Pennyworth. It feels very like...
He doesn't even call him Alfred. Like, it's like, huh? Y'all are not a first name basis?
It feels very Sherlock, like, my dear Watson, when he's talking to him. I also love, I think Kevin Conroy would really appreciate, I don't remember the actor's name who's playing Bruce Wayne or Batman.
The new actor's really good. Yeah.
He's doing something that Kevin Conroy took a lot of pride in, because it was his idea back in the day, where he has 3 different voices for Batman. And back then, for those, I I got to hear Kevin Conroy talk about this. It was really cool. Back then, everyone was telling him not to do that because it'd be too complicated and confusing.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, no, I really want to have 3 different voices for Bruce Wayne. And those 3 voices were Batman, who was very intimidating and dark. Bruce Wayne, who was this like more fun-loving act. And then he said his true self. And the only time you would hear his true self was Bruce Wayne in the Batcave talking to Alfred.
Yeah.
And that was him being him, and that was the only time he could be himself.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really done well in this as well.
Yeah. I do want to note, they are doing the thing where it's like you are going to see him be just as much Bruce Wayne as Batman, it seems like. Because there were those times where in the original cartoon, he would have to do some stuff as Bruce Wayne. He would have to kind of go undercover, quote unquote. But one of my favorite, like to me, this is just so Bruce Wayne, is I forget who it was, but when he was like coming back onto that boat, when he's like, he made the comment like bad time to go for a swim or something like that, right? And then so
it doesn't land, so he does it again.
Yeah, and then so these ladies come up that like, he's like, I'm gonna go flirt with these ladies, and says the same line. I'm like, that is a Bruce Wayne, like that was
funny.
That's peak Bruce Wayne for me. I'm just like and it's him playing that playboy role, so I'm just like, dang, I'm like, dang, that was good.
They're doing such a good job of making like Bruce Wayne just sound so fake. Like you could just tell that Bruce Wayne is an act.
He just
whenever he gets up there.
That line right after. I'm just like, bro.
Yeah, it's so good.
That was a really good scene.
But no, we've only seen 1 episode. I plan to see more of it. Really well done. Do know it's a little bit more mature. I don't think it's rated MA.
No, but it's definitely.
But it's
definitely up there. Though, yeah.
It's gory. It's very adult so far.
Yeah.
I have to check the rating, listeners, for yourself before deciding. But just know that the quality is there, and I would imagine it's what Bruce Timm probably went on to make in the first place.
I was nervous that Bruce Timm was attached to it because Bruce Timm was responsible for the changes they made to Killing Joke, the movie.
Oh, okay.
So I was nervous when it's like, Bruce Timm is doing this new Batman show, and I guess Max or HBO decided not to pick it up at the time, and so that's why.
That's really. I didn't really think about that. It's not on HBO.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I can find this rating.
It's good. While you do that, I will move on to the Dragon Prince.
No, go for it.
I finished that finished that show. It is much better than the last few seasons have been. Thoroughly enjoyed it. There is a I don't know, it takes itself a little bit more seriously this season, and even though it still has its goofy moments, I think that does create some tonal issues. We talked about that a couple weeks ago or last week. But for the most part, like, just the writing is so much more well done in this season than it has been in the past. It didn't feel like filler. They get to very specific, very serious plot points by the end of it. So I don't want to give too much more away than that. And then a show that's definitely TVMA. Got to watch House of the Dragon. The finale came out.
I've been meaning to at least check that out.
It's a good season. I'm gonna say this because I think that even though it's like the reverse of a spoiler, because I'm telling you no, it doesn't happen, but I think that I would have liked that listening. So if you're like no spoilers at all, maybe don't maybe skip ahead a little bit. But starting now, the entire season is about gearing up for this big dragon war, and the big dragon war doesn't happen yet. So just know that all the build up that you're getting, it doesn't quite make it there. You'll have to wait for another season to really get to see the big crazy battles that we want to see. But that doesn't change the fact that the writing is phenomenal in that show. There's a specific thing that happened a few weeks ago. I think I talked about it on the podcast, where they are dealing with war, and they deal with war in a way that I've never seen on screen before, and I really appreciated it.
Especially for a TV show, like, that's cool.
Yeah. Did you find that rating?
I didn't find anything, but it doesn't sound like it's MA. It just sounds like it's definitely more mature. Like, Probably more meant for like maybe
Could be
young
TV
adult.
17 or something.
Right, that's what I think it might be. Yeah, it's not like it doesn't seem like it's MA or anything.
That's good.
So it just sounds like it's maybe like it's not too bad, which is I
I
think.
couldn't imagine them. There weren't any curse words or anything. Either.
Right. It's not like they were trying to be like invincible or something, or you know, like they definitely have the dark tones and stuff, but
It felt like the darker side of X-Men 97, to be honest.
yeah, that's a good. Yeah,
It's got that
I'd
vibe.
say that's a good.
It
That's a good way
definitely
to
makes you
look at
feel. You remember this kids show you used to like?
Yeah,
That's not what this is.
X-Men 97 had me like.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like jaw dropped because of how like hard they went.
So good.
But no.
Well,
yeah.
The Batman Cape Crusaders may have not made it to HBO Max, but HBO Max has a lot of other things happening. They threw it all into one trailer.
A plus.
That's for you, Shelley.
A plus transition. Nice.
There's this promo. It's about a minute. I'm almost 2 minutes long, I think, and it teases new stuff. I don't know if all of this is new. I don't think all of this is new, but we did get new scenes for some of it. It showcased the Penguin, Dune Prophecy, the franchise, Welcome to Derry, which is a TV show, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which is another Game of Thrones spinoff, The White Lotus, The Last of Us Season 2.
That's the
got
big
a lot of new footage there. The Gilded Age, just like that, and Sex Lives of College Girls. I don't know what that is.
I don't know. HBO stuff.
Can proudly say, no idea.
Yeah.
But no, the biggest part of that was obviously Last of Us and A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Both new footages there. Last of Us looking really good.
Looks good.
Last of Us Season 2 looks incredible so far. I'm sure that people who haven't played the games especially are excited to see more of the adventures of Joel and Ellie. The second thing is A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which I don't know where that takes place in the Game of Thrones timeline, but that also looks really good. I wish we would have got like a full trailer for that.
That title seems
feel
so
like-
generic. I didn't know that was Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I thought it was Last Kingdom.
I kind of did too.
It was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm excited for more Game of Thrones stuff if it continues to be good. But it's weird that they're doing all these spin-offs. I think I saw something that said there are 5 projects in development for Game of Thrones, and that seems crazy. 2 of them live action and 3 of them animated.
Ooh, I like that. It made me think of like how well have these Walking Dead spin-offs been received? Because like I remember Game of Thrones and Walking Dead were like
any of it.
the big dogs, you know? Like so.
Yeah.
It's weird that they're all in like spin-off phase.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy to think about. Like Walking Dead was so big, but it was like an AMC. It was almost like a cable show.
Yeah.
But could you imagine if HBO's Walking Dead? I guess we have Last of Us, but
I mean, Walking Dead was still pretty dang mature.
yeah, that's true. So good. One of the best.
Yeah.
People are going to be like, "What?" One of the best biblical shows I've seen in it was biblical for Herschel's time there, and there was so many. I don't know what it was with the writers because they kind of fell off of that. But there was a little while where the writers were like really hitting the theology.
Yeah.
It was really cool. One of my favorite lines from Herschel, and then we can move off Walking Dead. But he said, "You always get to come back home."
Yeah.
And it was so good. You can always come back home, peeps. Yeah, that's. Well, I would say you thought the franchise looked okay.
That looked interesting because it looked like it was playing off of the idea of like, I mean, to me it looked like they were filming some kind of like fantasy or like, you know, big type of like Hollywood movie. So it made me think of like Marvel or something, or like,
Okay.
I don't know what it's about, but it just looked like to me like, because it looked like they were filming some kind of movie, and then they made a comment, like the characters made a comment about it. So I'm like, oh, that could be a total fun play on the idea of these big Hollywood franchises, like Marvel or Star Wars or something. Like, I don't know what the movies or the show is about, but it just looked like that could be a fun premise from what I saw.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll have to look more.
The other thing I wanted to mention, I'm not a fan of horror, but I feel like horror fans are gonna really like it. Welcome to Derry. That looks really good.
The premise sounds awesome.
Yeah, if it ends up being like the next Stranger Things, I'm all in. If they try to go for
I've
more
been
of the
too
harder
chicken to
R in it.
watch Chapter 2.
Yeah, I've heard Chapter 2 is terrible, but I really liked the first.
Chapter
part
1 was really good.
so fun. Very Stranger Things, which was weird because it had Stranger Things actors in it.
Yeah.
If that's the direction it goes, if it's just HBO Stranger Things, especially Stranger Things wrapping up, I would be totally down for that.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be... That's going to definitely have some dark stuff going on there.
Yeah, if it gets too mature, it won't be for me.
Yeah.
Especially in horror realm, I just don't like it. I don't enjoy
Yeah,
it.
same.
For me, Stranger Things is more like Ghostbusters for adults, and I like that out of it. It's not like scary. It's just
And we talked last time, even they
supernatural.
kind of went a little hard on some of their horror
Yeah,
films too.
it's true.
So. Yeah.
Yeah, I want more of the supernaturalness to it and less of the like the actual horror and gore aspect.
Yeah.
But that is all of the news. Are you geeking out about anything else this week?
No, I just know that I don't know if we talked about it, but I will not be here. More than likely, we'll probably be taking a break next week, right?
Yeah, I think we're going to.
Because I'm going to be at Disney and Universal like for 7 days next week, so
So
I'm going to have a
cool.
lot to talk about when we come back. So that's what I'm geeking out about, vacation. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
That will be an amazing experience. That sounds so fun.
Oh yeah. We got
Well,
lightsabers
we'll end-
built.
Yeah,
That we're gonna build. Anyway.
that'd be crazy. You know, you won't be able to show the listeners your lightsaber, but I want to see the lightsaber.
Oh, definitely.
We'll end the podcast there. LJ, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram under LJ the Paladin.
And you can find me on Instagram at Cody Armour. Keep gaming, keep praying, and God bless.
Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. We love hearing from you, so feel free to ask us questions or just comment on the show by using the hashtag GUGcast on Twitter or by joining the GUGcast questions channel in the Geeks Under Grace Discord. If you like this episode, consider leaving a review or rating of our show on your favorite podcast app. If you want even more Geeks Under Grace, you can always go to geeksundergrace.com. We love you all so much, so thank you for listening.